This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Cowboys OT, 47-9, the final score as the Cowboys fall at home to the Detroit Lions. Let's go back out to AT&T Stadium for the first time and hear from head coach Mike McCarthy.
I think clearly, number one, we were beaten today. They're a very good team. I think, the facts are they're further ahead of us right now at this time in week 6. We a lot of moving parts, but I think just staying to the obvious facts. I mean, we're not taking care of the ball. We're not taking it away. I mean, that's number one on the list of basics as far as how we train, where we put our time, and so we got to start there. I didn't do a very good job today as far as some of the answers that our guys needed. We needed to. Score points coming into it was the mindset, part of taking the ball and getting out there starting fast. But, red zone and third down was a huge issue again today. We'll obviously, it was going to be an emphasis for us as a staff anyways on the bye week. So we got to be better there situationally. But, I think it's like any game, it starts up front. They won the battle at the line of scrimmage. Clearly won the turnover ratio battle. You're not going to beat anybody with those kind of numbers. So that's really, we got to get back to basics as far as how we play, where we train, where our emphasis is. Off the path. No, the other part of it is we've got a lot of moving parts as far as players in and out. I think it's going to serve us very well moving forward. I've been in this spot before with young players playing early. So you can see the connection was definitely not as high as you'd like it to be, but we'll improve in that area through these guys playing. The benefits of playing so many young guys this early will come forward. But that team's playing very good right now. They're a very good team. They're hot coming in here, and so they're further ahead than we are right now. We're 3-3.
Knowing you need to score points, did Dak press? You think Dak Prescott was trying to do?
Oh, I think really the passing game. You can start with the protection. I think he was, he was on his back foot all day. From the get-go. And we had a couple things that were not clean as far as chip, check down, release, and so forth. Were, mistakes. Young player, but we need to be better. At the end of the day, we need to take care of the football.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What was the thought process on starting Tyler Smith at left tackle today?
Tyler Guyton's he's not 100%. Obviously, I think if you saw that at the end, we went with Awesome over him. So that's just kind of where he is medically.
Defensively, did you think you saw your team was as physical as you needed to be?
Well, the plan was to come in and try to get the run defense done with a 2-shell. And obviously that puts us more stress on the front seven. They're obviously excellent running the football, and we're able to take advantage of it. So we wanted to come in and hold a lid on it, and try to be selective with the calls. I think if we're scoring touchdowns early, maybe we go down a different road.
Mac Engel, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. You guys are 3-3. Do you feel like that record is an accurate reflection of how you've played through 6 games?
You are what your record is. So I think we've had some out of balance games that when you get in out of balance games and you're on the wrong side of it, you have the numbers that we have. Our turnover ratio is as low as I can ever remember it here. So, and that's not who I am as a head coach, and that's not where we invest our time. That's not where we invest it. You have to have ROI. I don't care what level of football you play. Football's not going to change, and that's why they call it football. And we're not taking care of the football, and we're definitely not taking it away. So we need to improve there. We've had 7 turnovers in 7 days, so maybe 8.
Yeah, very frustrated. Mike McCarthy, very real at the same time. I do commend Coach McCarthy for stepping up there and taking ownership in multiple ways, and I think he did so there. He knows his football team didn't play well. Yep. He knows there's talent on this team despite the injuries that have started to stack up a bit on both sides of the ball, but he owned it there and said, we didn't win the line of scrimmage. We didn't play well. We didn't force turnovers, and we gave too many turnovers apart. If there's one area of this game that you have to circle, Nate, what would it be?
It's going to have to be your offensive line.
Yeah.
He said it. And no matter what level, from Pop Warner, Power 5 football, don't matter. If you don't have an offensive line that can set the tempo, like the 3 teams that we've lost to, their offensive line set the tempo, everything else falls into place. Your quarterback, he said his quarterback has been throw off his back heel all day. He's been throwing off his back heel the whole season. And until this offensive line get better and matures, if it can get better, he's going to continue to throw off his back foot. So, hey, start first with your offensive line, then get with your red zone and everything will pan out.
When you have a multiple Pro Bowl player / multiple Super Bowl winner say from the offensive line position say that the O-line needs to knuckle up, y'all might want to listen to Mr. Nate Newton right here. So I'm going to defer to him in regards to that, but I'm also going to add on to it, okay? I'm going to give me a little side of turnovers. You just heard Coach McCarthy talk about 7 turnovers in 7 days. That is accurate, okay? There was 5 turnovers today, and there was 2 turnovers in last week's game. It's something that has to get cleaned up. You cannot compete in this league by giving the other team more opportunities than you receive. Just doesn't work out that way, especially when you can't get stops.
Nate, I know from the very beginning when we were in Oxnard, California, and we were watching this offensive line, you had your concerns up front with the guys that were there. Different group today because of Tyler Guyton not playing, but where has your confidence level wavered or changed from that point where you already had a little bit of a question?
This is what people don't understand. And I said this in the pregame. I said this all while I was watching the game. I don't care if you got to run into a brick wall. The biggest fear that an offensive lineman has is when I have to drop and set up for pass more than 40 times a game. Yeah. And when you have to do that, that is a scary proposition because it's all in favor of the defense. And you saw that today. No matter whether it was Aiden Hutchinson, hey, sir, I hope you be all right. Hope best for your family. Or whether it was his backup. They was getting to us. They sacked us 4 times, and they hit Dak numerous times. Dak is going to be in a whirlpool tonight somewhere at his house or either when they get back over to the facilities. This is not right. You're going to have to fix your offensive line and get it settled down.
No, it's a great point, and that's something that is going to be workshopped as the year goes on for this Cowboys team, and they've got a bye week at least to work with it. You said it there, too, by the way, Aiden Hutchinson. I put out a tweet already. Hate to see that from anybody. Speedy and safe recovery on your side. All of our thoughts and prayers are with you after that injury in the second half. When we come back, CeeDee Lamb did not have a great game either. What did wide receiver 1 have to say following the loss to Detroit at AT&T Stadium?
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys offense never really had a rhythm today. CeeDee Lamb finished as the top wide receiver on the Cowboys roster, but here's what he had to say following the loss to Detroit.
Yeah, again, we just got to capitalize on the small mistakes.
You said things need to change, CD. What needs to change?
Huh? Say that again?
You said things need to change. What?
We got to score. We got to score touchdowns in the red zone. We got to capitalize. Continue moving the ball. I feel like there's some good also, but there's a lot more bad than there is good, and we know we got to fix that.
Did this loss change any of your goals or the way you perceive the team to be?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, a lot of people may question it, but it's not for them. We're the ones that's out there running the routes, doing the blocking, the running. Granted, we didn't get out to the start we've always wanted, but we are 3-3, and that's just the fact. We gotta capitalize every given chance that we step out on the field, home or away. And obviously, in the beginning of this season, we played a lot better away than we have home. But our last 4 games at home have not been good.
When the defense is as compromised as it is, do you guys feel more pressure to go out there and score touchdowns and do what you guys?
I feel like we have pressure to go out there and score regardless. But it's a little more of an urgency when they give up a touchdown, obviously, because you kind of want to match the intensity. But going out there and going and putting up points, it's very important to us. The season don't end in 6 weeks. I will say that. This bye week, we got to use it to be better. We got a lot across the halls, a lot of meetings, a lot of things we got to clean up. And when we come back, we're going to be ready to work.
Before you get out of here, could you talk about your thoughts about Aiden Hutchinson?
Yeah, that's sick. Kind of seeing that twice in my career, one being my teammate and Dak Prescott, obviously, and then seeing the same with Aiden. Praying for him, obviously. I hope the recovery process goes perfect, and yeah, that's sick to see him go down like that. It's still there. We obviously got hit in the mouth today, and it's terrible. We gotta dwell on it. Obviously, going into the bye week, we have another week to sit down and watch a couple guys, go out there and play and do their thing. But as for us, we got to come back ready to work. We got to come back ready to get the fundamentals down again. You know what I'm saying? Granted, we are professional athletes, but there's some things that we got to clean up, and being fundamental and playing football for what it is one of those things.
Jerry Jones said that the performance was shocking. How hard is it to rebound when a loss like that is as shocking as it is?
A loss is a loss. Obviously, at home is terrible, and us not scoring and them almost putting up 50 is even worse. You know what I'm saying? So as far as the confidence level, we got time to regroup. We got time to hopefully see those guys again in the playoffs. And right now it's 1-1 in the series of the last 2 years. So, go figure.
So, big thing here, guys. CeeDee Lamb and the offense didn't really have a rhythm, didn't really have a whole lot going on. We talked about the offensive line already, but how do the skills guys help each other out? Because Dak Prescott's throwing off his back foot. Running game's not going anywhere specifically. And then, of course, Jalen Tolbert, CeeDee Lamb, who had good games in the past, haven't necessarily done that. Isaiah, I'll start with you. Where do you start if you're the skills positions for this Cowboys team?
With the film. With the film, I would go into the room with the quarterback, all the quarterbacks, okay? Dak, Cooper Rush, all right, Trey Lance, and you hear from Dak's perspective, what is he expecting, right? What is the expectation on each play? I'm talking about every pass play that you had, all 33 of them from Dak's perspective and all 11 of them from Cooper Rush's perspective. Go watch every single one. Go through the coverage, go through the protection, and go through what were you thinking on this particular route and where do I want you at? Because I don't want to assume. I need to know exactly what you're thinking, and you need to know exactly what I'm thinking, because the product that's showing up on the field is a lot of miscommunication. And for there to be this much communication week after week, you remember last week there was a couple interceptions from miscommunication between Dak and CeeDee as well. For there to be compounding games where you're having this miscommunication, this misfiring, this is reflective of a new offense. This is not a new offense. This is an offense that you're accustomed to, that you're used to, that you're supposed to be building upon. This is not indicative of veteran play right now, and they have to figure it out, and it starts with all those guys in both of those rooms.
All I can do, he gave you the breakdown, the way they do things. I'm going to tell you what I've seen, and I've seen Michael Irvin, when him and Troy misfire in a game, that next week of practice was just outstanding because you would see Mike running routes, and if it didn't connect, he was like, where do you want me, Troy? Where should I be? What do you need from me? We'll run this after practice. And they would do it over and over and over to the point where it was just, you'd be like, wow, they'll be out there an extra hour after practice. Now, I know that the new CBA don't let y'all do that, or y'all don't want to do that. But you know what? When you're the number one receiver and dealing with your quarterback, you have to be on the same page. And we're going to have to find a way to get Ferguson involved. And I'm serious. You're going to have to find a way. We have to get somebody else to do all the bumping and chipping for your tackles. You're going to have to find a way for this guy. He's too valuable a guy who can help CeeDee be a better player. You two better be in the room with Dak this bye week.
Yeah, this bye week's going to be big. And maybe the way that the loss happened tonight changes the schedule of things, changes the way and the intensity that this team attacks the bye week. I mean, there's ways to get guys back and healthy this week, which is great, but you got to be better going up against San Francisco on the other side of the bye. When we come back, the defense didn't play well, 47 points, almost 500 yards allowed. We'll talk to Malik Hooker right after this. For the third straight loss, the Dallas Cowboys give up over 400 yards of total offense to their opponent. Let's hear from Malik Hooker, one of the only secondary players to talk in the post-game media scrum after the loss.
Wasn't really too much different what we seen on film. I mean, we knew they was going to come in here and, try some tricky stuff. Obviously, we seen it last year, so, hats off to them. They came here and did what they wanted to do. We ain't make no adjustments on our end as far as, as a defense to try to fix some of the stuff up, and, that's what happens. And when I say adjustments, I'm talking about us as the players, not the coaches.
In regards to bye week, does that just make it tougher, just that you got more time to lament on it? Because the 24-hour rule is a nice thing to say, but does it sometimes drag beyond 24 hours?
Yeah. Just as a competitor, don't nobody like losing. So, if you're a real competitor, it can be a week later, up until the next game. You're going to be thinking of those plays that, you might have missed the opportunity on or that you could have made to make a difference in the game. That's what any real competitor to do. But, at the end of the day, it's about going out there and placing it on the field with your actions. So, you can think about it all you want. You got to go get the work in throughout the week, practice it up, and then you got to apply it to the game day. And, I feel like that's not what we did today.
Teams have now scored first possession at least 6 games this year. Is there something maybe that's going on, I guess, in the early system, whether it's maybe the plan that they have to
I honestly don't know, man. That's something we're kind of trying to figure out as a defense, and as some of the leaders on the defense, we feel like we're better than that. We've shown that we're capable of going out there and getting stops. We've done it before, so like I said, it's just about us going out there figuring out what our mistakes is, and like I said, correcting them and being consistent with our corrections and going out there and applying it.
Does this bye week come at a good time for you guys to be able to find that identity?
Honestly, I don't know how anybody else look at it. We got some banged up guys, so for that sake, it is. But, right now we're not playing good ball. That's all it comes down to. So don't nobody want to go in the bye week and have a break and nothing's done, nothing's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's anybody. That's a competitor in the league. Like, that's something that, I know a lot of these guys on our end ain't wanting to do, and myself included as a leader. It sucks having to go in the bye week knowing that, all the work we put in the off season and even this week, it didn't apply to what we wanted to do, and, we still got some stuff that we need to fix up. So it's definitely not a good feeling.
We showed some of these early in the show, but here are some of the defensive stats. And the sacks, the hits, all this stuff is great. The 4 of 10 on third down isn't terrible. The 492 yards total from the Detroit Lions doesn't look good defensively. And Isaiah, when you talk about personnel and coaching staff and where the blame lies, it's all over the place. But where do you start if you're on the defensive side of the ball and you have an outing like that against Detroit?
Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is exactly where you start. That's the person that is in charge of this entire defense. He's the one responsible for the product on the field. Now, can he go out there and execute on behalf of the players? Absolutely not. But it is his job to put together one heck of a game plan. And what we have seen over these 3 games that they've lost, where in which teams had over 450 yards in each one of those games, has been him getting out-scripted. That's just a matter of the fact. I'm not coming for him. I'm just going off of what we see. Yeah. These teams are lighting up the defense. This is not just players just being amazing. These are people running scot-free. We saw numerous times today coming into this game, one thing we knew about this offense is that they could run the ball and that they were going to try to stretch the ball down the field with Jameson Williams. Well, guess what? They ran the ball and they stretched the field wide open with Jameson Williams down the field, just like you saw. If you guys would have watched in the pregame show, we talked about this being very similar to what we saw against the Saints. So you have to start there because this is a new defense. And this team we're not used to seeing this team get torched like this defensively. Also, you heard Coach McCarthy talk about how there hasn't been any turnovers. That's a problem. Dallas Nation is not used to not having any turnovers. As a matter of fact, turnovers was the heart and soul of this team over the past recent years. And now all of a sudden you're in a position where you're not getting any. So there's a lot of things that have to be addressed in terms of the players and execution and all those things. But it starts with the man that's in charge of making the call every single time, and that is Mike Zimmer.
It was 35 minutes of time possession. They scored 5 touchdowns. Kyle didn't tell you that. And every time they got in the red zone, they scored either 7 points or 3. Kyle, you didn't mention that.
Sorry.
There's a
lot of numbers like I couldn't get to in that
All
graphic.
that other stuff don't matter. The only thing matters is turnovers, touchdowns, what you do in the red zone, and how your third down, can you keep drives alive? They were able to do that. That is why they won the game. Turnovers, red zone, scoring touchdowns, and I think they only punted maybe once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A whole game and you punt once?
I mean, and we didn't even point out the fact that they shut it down in the fourth.
It was 47-9 early in the fourth quarter.
They shut it down in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
They had over 450 yards in the fourth. So they started handing the ball off just to run a time off the clock. This could have easily been worse. It could have easily been, they went for it on 4th and 2. They could have easily kicked the field goal and made it a 50-point game. You know what I'm saying? So there was aspects of this game, as bad as it was, it could have been and should have been worse if they wanted to go ahead and be non-sportsmanlike. So things are array. This defense has no identity. There's nobody sitting up here right now. We bleed the doggone blue, right? We sit up here and we talk about the Cowboys every day. We do our homework. We do all of our research. We try our best to make sure that you guys are the most insightful people around because you guys are our audience. So we have to be informed. This defense doesn't have an identity right now.
They don't have the identity. They may not have the personnel because of the injuries kind of scattered throughout. There's a lot to fix moving forward. And when we come back, it starts on the offensive side as well, and it starts with your quarterback. Just like it starts with Zimmer on defense, on offense, it starts with Dak Prescott. QB1 hits the podium when we come back with more Cowboys OT.
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.
After a loss like the Cowboys suffered at AT&T Stadium Week 6, the blame might go all over the place. A lot of people will put it on Dak Prescott. That might not necessarily be the case, but he will take ownership. Here's what he had to say at the podium after the loss.
Yeah, I mean, start off first 2 drives. Felt great. Go down, get a field goal. Second drive, feel good as well. Get down there. Anticipated a little too much, a little too early. Guy made a great play, initially driving on the flat. He's got the flat in man. Threw it early with the 0 blitz. Was protected, however. Let it hang a little bit. Guy comes off of that. Makes a great catch. Can't turn the ball over in the red zone. And then from there, didn't feel like there was really another positive play after that for us to build off of, to get anything going, and very frustrating.
Do you need to be better with this team already challenged on defense?
For sure. Yeah, simple as that. I don't want to say I have to play perfect by any means, but I've got to play better than I did, and close to it, especially when you're playing a team like that. As talented as they are, they're hot right now. Good on defense, great on offense. Yeah, for sure.
Dak, Todd Archer with ESPN. Does this type of loss make you wonder what this team can still be?
No, I mean, we've got to get better, simply. And obviously, we're going into the bye week. I mean, we're 3-3, 6 games under us, a long season to go. I've been in worse situations, I guess you can say, in teams, and then got it going. Teams that got on a streak, I think about 2018, it's about us sticking together. And I think after a loss like this, no better time than to test the character of that.
What do you make of the bye? Does anything about this loss change how you guys approach the bye?
I mean, the schedule's the schedule. Get in there tomorrow, clean it up, look at it, be honest with one another. Everybody, myself, I'm sure Coach said the same. Look in the mirror, figure out what we can do, how we can be better for this team, put better units out there, and then collectively make sure that when we get on the road week after this bye, that we're a much better team than we put out there today, and try to build from that.
If you want to hear all of Dak's postgame press conference, you can watch it on DallasCowboys.com and the Cowboys streaming platforms. When we come back here on Cowboys OT, I want Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback to talk about that. The schedule, the accountability, and a whole lot more after the Cowboys fall to the Detroit Lions. 47-9, the final score in Week 6. Welcome back into Cowboys OT. Here's a look at the final offensive stats for the Cowboys. 3 of 13 on third down. That total yardage, not very good. Rushing yards held underneath 60 rushing yards again, despite having 65 plays ran, and that's a big goose egg up there in the touchdown category. Offense wasn't good. We've already talked about that pretty significantly. Back alongside Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Nate, Dak talked about it a little bit there. This is a reset button for the Cowboys. Luckily, you're 3-3. It could be worse. You could be 2-4 if you lose that game last week to Pittsburgh. You could be 1-5, and the whole season could be a wash by this point in the year. You are at 500. There's a chance to right the ship, and you're getting some guys back, hopefully from injury. But the schedule doesn't give you any easy moments. It is what you make it, but what do you think about this team moving forward?
They have to be perfect. That's hard to be, but you have to be perfect. You can't go out there and have dumb penalties. You can't go out there and turn the ball over, as Coach McCarthy said. You have to take the ball away. Coach Zim got to find a way to get these guys rallying and taking the ball away. If they can take the ball away, then they'll have a chance at every game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nate, in regards to that. But as I look forward on this schedule, you're talking about having to be perfect. You got the 49ers, the Falcons, the Eagles, and the Texans. You got 2 tough road games against 49ers and Falcons back-to-back, and then you come back home for the Eagles and the Texans. Those are all 4, as it stands today, those are 4 playoff teams. Yeah. There are 3 losses that you have this year are against playoff teams. One win that you had, against a somewhat good team was against Pittsburgh. They may or may not be a playoff team. We don't know. It depends on what happens in their division. But you got some tough games coming up. And you really need to go back and watch the film and see exactly where are the commonalities between those 3 losses and how do we prevent those same things going forward. We have a bye week to go back and watch a lot of film. Normally, guys on bye week go on vacation. They take the family out. You're not in a position to do all that. You're just not. You would love to be able to be able to go do those things, but you got to hunker down right now and find out how do we get better from where we are today.
Yeah, because the season's not over. There's a long way to go. My question to you is there an element of this football team that you are confident in through 6 games?
No.
Any one element?
Brandon Aubrey.
Okay, other than Brandon Aubrey at the kicker position, because I agree.
No, because I don't think this team has an identity on any outside of the special teams unit, where Kevontae Turpin's having a really good return game, and Brandon Aubrey is almost a sure thing every single time he crosses the 50. There is no aspect of this game where you feel comfortable. You don't feel confident running the ball against everybody. You don't feel comfortable throwing the ball against everybody. You have 7 turnovers over the last 2 games. Defensively, you can't stop a runny nose against a good offense. What's your identity?
Yeah.
The reason he's saying that is because your offensive defensive lines are not adequate at this time. Once they get better and once they improve, then we got exceptional DBs. We got nice wide receivers, a good tight end, but our offensive line and our defensive line is not giving these guys opportunity to perform.
Yeah, and that's where it starts. It starts there. And there's one of the leaders on the defense that spoke after the game as well, Jordan Lewis, who out of all the guys that have at least been around this season, he's been one of the better ones at keeping everything in perspective. Let's hear from Jordan Lewis when we come back with more Cowboys OT right after this.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Let's go back out to AT&T Stadium following the 47-9 loss to the Detroit Lions. Dallas Cowboys corner Jordan Lewis talks to the media.
Oh, I don't know, man. Just got us. It was just a much faster team than we were, more physical. So they got us.
Was this different, or were there similarities to what went wrong with Baltimore and New Orleans?
We always got to look in the mirror, see what we did wrong, and see what, how our effort and our technique and our discipline can be better. So it always starts as, the individual and then as a collective. Those things add up. So we're just looking in the mirror right now, like Coach said, and trying to get better.
How much did the injuries impact? I mean, you're down so many edge rushers.
We had injuries last week and we won a game, so that's not a good excuse. We just got to go out there and do our job.
What was the leadership message in this room after this game, and what can you share about it?
Look in the mirror. Honestly, see how you can get better in your 111th, and that's really how you got to progress. You got to start on an individual level, and then get as a collective and be on the same page.
Jordan, what did you make of the way some young guys responded as things were happening today?
I mean, they fought. That's all you can ask. Go out there and fight, regardless of the situation you put in. So we just got to get better at doing our jobs and Yeah.
You mentioned you need to be more physical. How can you be a more physical team?
And it's not just trying to out-rough people. That's running to the ball, understanding being disciplined every single play. That's also mental toughness. That's the more so than anything, because everybody can go run and hit. You got to be mentally tough enough to go do it every single time.
You mentioned mental toughness. How tough is that when the team scores continuously at 9-9? Is it debilitating at all? Is it hard to hold?
Our job is to stop people, and we didn't do that. So we didn't do our job today, and we got to go out there and figure a way to clean this up. So
how hard?
So there's Jordan Lewis. Got to find a way to clean it up. That's a big thing on the mind of this Cowboys defense, back alongside Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback. If you're going to clean it up going into the bye week, where do you start first if you're the Cowboys defense?
I'm sorry to be at a loss for words. There's just so many areas that need to be addressed. And again, it starts with, you can start wherever you want to. I'm going to start with scheme. That's what I'm going to start with personally. I think guys need to be in position to be successful, and I'm not sure that they're being put in the most advantageous situations for them to highlight their abilities. That's my belief. And I'm sure that, Nate can speak on some of the personnel, but if guys are not being placed in a position to do what they do best, then you're playing as a shell of who you truly are.
And you're going to have to stop the run. Every team that has beat us came in here and rushed over 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stop the run. If you got to sell out and put all 11 guys up on the line of scrimmage, you have to do that.
Got to have a way to do it. Now, if you're going to try and find something on the interior of this defense, did you feel like they played better over these last 3 weeks, or is there still room to work in terms of the
Against
interior?
the lightweights, they did. And that's Pittsburgh and that's New York.
Wow.
But every team that has a powerhouse and has a stubbornness that say, I am not going to stop running this ball at all costs, we have lost the game in a bad and ugly way.
Yeah, Nate's absolutely correct. Teams that are resilient and relentless in their approach to run the ball and actually has the personnel to do so, they're having success on the ground. And for whatever reason, most teams come in here and they don't stick to the run. They start airing it out for whatever reason. Maybe it's just the absence of Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence that teams are now sticking with it. But either way, you got to be able to stop a runny nose. And if you don't have no tissue, you better use your sleeve.
Based on your intuition and your experience around the league, just a one-word answer here from you guys. Does there need to be a change in terms of coaching personnel or something around the building going into the week? Or will there? I'll ask you a prediction. Will there be a change this week?
It's above my pay grade, but they better get rooted, if that's the word.
Okay. And what do you think, Isaiah?
Giving up 500 yards for almost 500 yards for the third straight time this year on Jerry Jones' birthday, again blown out, there might be some changes happening sooner than later.
Yeah, I think there's at least a look at it. You got to at least survey along the way because it hasn't been great. Now, when we come back here on Cowboys OT, we'll look ahead to the bye week. How do the Cowboys win the bye right after this?
Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
Cowboys OT wrapping up here in Week 6 after the Lions take down the Cowboys 47-9. The final score from AT&T Stadium. It's into the bye week for the Cowboys. They'll face the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football 14 days from now. Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Isaiah, I'll start with you. You've kind of hit this a little bit, but how do you win the bye week if you're the Cowboys and get back on the right winning ways and above 500 after evening things out with a loss today?
Film and accountability. Those are the two things that have to happen. Like I said, and I know Nate Dahl, you guys might have left during the bye week as well. We used to leave during the bye week for a couple of days, possibly, but only if you're in a good standing in terms of where your season's at. This is not good standing. So film and accountability. Meet with your teammates, work out with your teammates, train with your teammates, bond with your teammates. But this is the only week that you have now to get yourself together and go forward.
Yeah. That was funny.
Did you leave during your bye week?
Yeah, we did on Friday.
Yeah.
We had to be back Sunday by 2 o'clock. Right about now, it's on the players to do what Isaiah is talking about. Don't forget the old school way. You, as a player, have to check yourself and understand where you're at and do your job and do it better. So I'm with you. Do what's necessary to help your team win.
Offense or defense, who has to see the bigger jump if they beat San Francisco?
Defense.
Got to be defense?
Got to be defense.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, it's got to be defense. The boombox boys is coming.
Even if this offense, they just put up a goose egg in terms of touchdowns.
No, it's got to be
red
our
zone
defense.
Turnovers.
It's got to be our defense.
I think you have more hope in your offense turning it around than you do your defense.
Why is that?
Because of the body of work within those coaches. You don't know we don't know what a successful Mike Zimmer defense looks like in this building with this personnel.
You don't have Brandon Cooks, but you should get Micah Parsons back. Should get Deron Bland. You should get Kalen Carson back. Yeah. Tyler Guyton should be 100% maybe healthy back out at the left tackle spot. The list goes on and on of guys that should be healthy after the bye week. Eric Kendricks, we don't know what the depth of issue there is with his injury, both a calf and a shoulder. You got to be better. Pure and simple, whether they're ready to come back or not, you got to play better against San Francisco. That one on the road. Next two on the road, San Francisco, then Atlanta, and then it's back home against the Houston Texans. We'll be here to break it down for you with Cowboys OT after those games as well. For Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next time.